right. Welcome, everybody. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time zone you're listening in. I'm your host, Jason.
And David Reagan.
And David is here.
Woo!
All right. Thank you for listening to Paranormal 411.
Hey, if you want to reach out to us, and you can do that by emailing us at info@paranormal411.org. You can also find us at paranormal411.org. Sign up, become a member. It's free, right, Jason?
Totally.
You could also find us on Twitter and Facebook at Paranormal411.
All right.
Join us.
Yes, join us. So I'm glad to be back on these short shows.
Yeah, it's nice to do one. It's been a little bit. It's been a minute.
Yeah, we got a good little story that you've probably heard before, but we're just going to tell you about it again, I guess. Spooky story is October.
Yeah, next week is Halloween. Next Monday.
Yes.
Spooky day.
Remember to be evil. Before we get into the story, though, we're gonna take a quick break so we can get some of our little ads in, right, David?
Cha-ching. That's right.
Oh yeah.
Gotta pay the bills.
Pay them bills. All right. Give us about 3-4 minutes, and we'll be back.
In a world on the edge of oblivion, go to paranormal411.org for all of your paranormal, extraterrestrial, and cryptid needs.
Hey, this is Eddie from Legends and Lore Pizzeria, and I listen to Paranormal 411. Love y'all and keep it squatchy.
Long and winding road, it takes me further from my home. Where it leads me, I may never know. My only purpose is to roam, never knowing what the day may bring. Less traveled is the road I'm on. Maybe one day I will change my ways. Till then they call me vagabond. I know you'll never really understand. This war, the wages in my
All right. You know who that is, right?
Yeah, Catalyst, East Tennessee. You come to our website at paranormal411.org, and right there on the right-hand side, you can see their link. Go visit their page.
Oh, yeah. They are awesome. And they are some great guys, too.
Yes. Yep. We got to thank them a lot for all that they do for us.
Hey, I also wanted to mention Bo Carey History Tours here in Loudon, Tennessee. He's
Right,
doing
Monday on October 31st, he's got a tour.
Oh yeah, I think he's doing 2 that day. 7 to 10 and 10 to whenever. You can get a hold of him at bocareyhistorytours.weebly.com and get you spook on.
Hey, and you could also see our friend Eddie at Legends and Lore Pizzeria in Madisonville, Tennessee. Won Best Pizza in Madisonville, right, Jason?
Yes.
And he's got the Halloween theme going all year round with his cryptids, UFOs, aliens, and everything else in the store. All right, Jason?
Yep.
Great pizza. Great wings.
Yeah.
Definitely check them out.
That's probably the best pizza and wings I've had ever.
Yes.
I like the, what was it? The honey sriracha wings
Yes.
and the chupacabra.
Ooh, the chupacabra.
I think it was a chupacabra. Anyway, it's all good.
His specialty pizzas all have names of cryptid creatures and things like that. Definitely check it out.
Yes, check it out. So tonight, David, we're going to talk a little bit about the Bell Witch.
Oh, yeah. Who lives in Tennessee and don't know about the Bell Witch, right?
I don't know. I mean, I've known about it for a while. I do have a question that you might know. Did the Blair Witch, did that movie spawn off of this story, or was it something different?
I think it was something different, yeah. Because I think the person who created that was asked that once before, and they was like, yeah, there's no correlation anywhere between them.
Yeah. So, before we get started, I want to tell you that I got this information from liveabout.com, and it's an article by Stephen Wagner. I don't want to get no calls, you know. So
Right.
I'm going to try not to read it word for word, but I know a little bit about the Bell Witch, and David does too, so we'll just see where it goes.
Yeah, and we've done a bigger show, on Bell Witch before. I think we spent maybe about an hour talking about it, and then we broke off into other things.
Yeah.
So
it's really there's one event that did take place at the during all that was Andrew Jackson.
yes.
So he had an experience there, and we'll talk about that later. But right now, the Bell Witch is in Adams, Tennessee. So in 1817, John Bell moved his family down from North Carolina and settled on I think it was a 300 and something acre farm.
Yeah.
Over in Adams, Tennessee.
Yeah.
And after that, they was having strange, often violent things happen to them, especially John.
Yeah, it centered around him and his daughter for some reason.
Yeah.
Them two got the brunt of it.
I think the first couple of months they was there, they were seeing these creature-like dog-looking things.
Yeah, with red glowing eyes in the
Yeah.
cornfields and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Then it started getting to where they had tapping on the walls and scratching on the walls, and
Yes, it's crazy, right?
yeah, they seem to think that it kind of worked its way up, almost kind of like a poltergeist type thing. It went from scratching and on the walls and tapping on walls to moving things around the house to finally actually being a disembodied voice.
Mm-hmm. I think that it's still unexplained after 200 years
Yeah.
of what really went on. But there's a few historical records about it.
Yes, and there's a museum up there, and they've got some pretty good historical records up there at that museum.
So an early account of the haunting was back in 1886 by a historian, Albert Goodpaster. In his History of Tennessee, he wrote this. This is what he wrote in it. A remarkable occurrence which attracted widespread interest was connected with the family of John Bell, who settled near what is now Adams Station about 1804. So great was the excitement that people came from hundreds of miles around to witness the manifestations of what was popularly known as the Bell Witch. This witch was supposed to be some spiritual being having the voice and attributes of a woman. So it didn't actually manifest into a what we would see as a witch, right?
No, most time it was just a disembodied voice.
Yeah, it wasn't riding a broom or nothing.
Right. Yeah, they just thought it was old, what do they call her, Kate Batts or something like that, and they thought it was over a land dispute that her ghost was all mad.
Yeah, it says you couldn't see it with your eyes, but yet you could hold a conversation and even shake hands with it. It's crazy, ain't it?
Yeah. Yeah. So that she used to do all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, some of the things it performed were wonderful and seemingly designed to annoy the John Bell family. It would take sugar from the bowls, spill the milk. It would take the quilts from the beds, slap and pinch their children, and just laugh and just over the discomfort of, what it was doing.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about it? Do you think it was a witch or a demon or what?
I don't know, and I really don't think it was a demon. I think that's a very rare occurrence anyway of anything like that, because there's tales of her going into the church, talking to the preachers and pastors, telling them about the Bible, about stories about way back in biblical times and stuff like that. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's pretty crazy behavior for a demon to go into a church and stuff like that. So, but
I've got an explanation for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dimensional alien.
Hey, maybe.
That was just messing with people. Watch this. What y'all busy talking about? Watch this. Let me see what they do.
It's like us looking into a fish tank, watching the fish swim around.
Yeah, that's what it is. Exactly. So you was talking about Kate Batts and the dispute that they had. Well, on her deathbed, she swore that she would haunt John and his descendants.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been her. I don't know.
Anything's possible. That's fact.
Yeah, it says the Bells were tormented for years by this spirit, and John Bell and his favorite daughter Betsy were the targets.
Yep.
And as in the case of Mrs. Bell, it was friendly.
Yes.
Yeah. But every visitor to the Bell home heard all of the voices and everything, and it spoke at a nerve-wracking pitch. It was crazy, they say.
That'd be something to witness. I tell you, that would be. I think I would.
Throwing furniture and dishes, yanking their hair, poking needles into them.
Human pincushion.
Human pincushion. Snatch food out of their mouth, boy. That's where I'd go. Cross the line right there.
That's it. You done crossed the line. You done taking food out of my mouth.
You done went and done it, Reggie.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So we was talking earlier that Andrew Jackson even had his round with the old Bell Witch, right?
Yes, yeah. He come up with the company of men, I think, didn't he?
Yeah, I think it went like John's had 3 sons, John Bell, and he had done some, went on some, I guess, missions or something with his 3
Scouting
sons.
trips. Yeah.
And he came to visit because he had heard about, I guess, from them what was going on there.
Right.
He was curious.
Yeah, I would be. I know there's a story about men on a wagon coming up with him, and all of a sudden it just stopped, like it was just caught up in the mud. And then they heard her saying, you can't come unless I invite you, and the horses, the men couldn't pull it or nothing. And then finally she let it go, and then they could it just moved like it wasn't nothing.
Yeah. So they came across Nashville with a wagon, just like you said. And, it's everything that you just said. So, one of the reasons he came was he was determined to confront this thing. He wanted to see if it was real or a real spirit or just a hoax. So he was an early paranormal investigator.
Right. Knock on this 3 times is for yes. They didn't need no equipment for her, though, did they?
No. So, according to some versions of the story, Jackson did indeed have an encounter with the Bell Witch that night that he stayed.
This is a funny story.
Betsy Bell screamed all night from the pinching and slapping she received from the witch, and Jackson's covers were ripped off as quickly as he could put them back on. And he had his entire party of men that were slapped, pinched, and had their hair pulled all the way up until morning hours. So when Jackson and his men decided to hightail it out of Adams, he was later quoted saying, "I'd rather fight the British than to have a fight with the Bell Witch." So I guess it scared him a little bit. Wonder if that's in his memoirs.
I don't know.
Apparently it's a well-known story.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
So one more thing we want to hit on is, I was asking David about earlier, this is the first recorded death of a human living thing that is wrote up. I guess it was wrote up in the autopsy or whatever the coroner did, that it was caused by this witch.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, he was, I think, poisoned by something that or something like that they didn't even know what it was. And come to find out, I guess a long time after this, though, they found out that it was some herb or something that you could dig up or something that he ended up dying. But supposed Kate Batts or the Bell Witch or whoever it is, did say it out loud multiple times. I am going to kill you. So
she also told his son, John Jr., and many others that was, that could hear her, she was taunting it that she had placed a vial in the medicine cabinet and given it to him while he slept.
Yep. Yep.
Could you imagine hearing that and then not seeing it, what was talking?
Well, have you ever heard of Bell's palsy?
I have.
Did you know that was named after John Bell?
No.
Yeah, that was the symptoms, I guess, of some of kind of the symptoms of what he died. The term and the disease or whatever it is, Bell's palsy, actually comes from John Bell.
So it's sort of like stroke symptom. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Stroke symptoms. So I thought that was pretty interesting that it was the first documented case of that.
Yeah, because you don't really hear about it, of entities killing people. You hear them again tormenting people, and maybe even some, supposed possessions and things like that, and then some people dying while they're trying to, exorcise that demon. But none of the entity itself actually killing its intended victim.
Mm-hmm.
And actually said it for years before that they were going to do it. So
yeah,
that's pretty crazy.
It is.
Tell you that wouldn't be nice at all to have some voice in the middle of the air just going, "I'm going to kill you, John Bell."
Yeah. So the ending of this, I'm getting this ending off liveabout.com. The Bell Witch left the Bell household in 1821, saying that she would return in 7 years' time. She made good on her promise and appeared at the home of John Bell Jr., where it is said she left him with prophecies of future events, including the Civil War and World War I and II. The ghost said it would reappear 107 years later in 1935, but if she did, no one in the Adams came forward as a witness to it. So some people still claim that she still haunts the area on the property once owned by the Bells in a cave. I think it's become like an attraction now.
Yeah. Yeah, because I don't think the house stands anymore.
No. So that's about it. I mean, that's
people also report
the author that wrote those stuff from Tennessee. What was his name?
Yeah, the East Tennessee author. Oh Lord.
Wasn't Alan Searcy, was it?
No, I don't think so. This was a guy he was a UFC promoter.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was, but he writes all them paranormal stuff.
Yeah, really good books. The Haunted East Tennessee or Middle Tennessee books. It's all about Middle Tennessee.
Well, that's about all I got. You got anything else?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
So you've heard about the Bell Witch here in the great state of Tennessee, over towards Nashville, right?
Yep, it's right above Nashville a little bit.
And hopefully we'll be back again soon. Maybe tomorrow we'll put out another one now. It might be Thursday or Friday. I don't know yet.
Right. Hopefully I'll be back home Friday. Maybe we could do a big show.
But
All kind of depends on this weather I might be running through tomorrow. So.
Oh yeah. All right. We will see you next time. Right?
That's right. We'll see you next time. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for listening to this podcast. And please go to paranormal411.org.
Yes.
Just go ahead and sign up, become a member. It's free. It doesn't cost nothing. When we do our live shows on Friday nights, and they may be moving to Saturdays, Jason and I are still kicking it around. But we'll let you know. And but right now they're Friday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And come over and check us out at the live show and chat room and hang out with us and talk to us. And we may even open up the phone lines for you.
Oh, yeah, we have a phone line.
That's right. So definitely come check us out.
Yes.
Come join us.
Join us. So we'll see you next time. Remember, paranormal411.org. Thank you for listening.